I thought I was doomed. But a miraculous thing happened, General. I could breathe. It must have been the helmet that was jammed onto my head. It was a strange and remarkable thing.
Some might almost say beyond belief.
A narrow-minded fool may indeed, General, but of course you are no Durak. But even as I sank towards the floor of that lost ocean, my journey was about to take me to darker, stranger territory than ever before. And it happened like this.
Y estamos aquí con otro episodio más de Little Orpheus. Pero vamos a ponerle el intro. Little Orpheus. Ok. Bajo las olas de Moliopka. Bien. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Se me acaba de salir esto del control. Y... está bien. Muy bien. Yo también entiendo al general. Me parecería muy lógico que el casco estuviera funcionando así. Tal vez si pudiese funcionar, ok, y está conectado a una fuente de oxígeno. No está conectado a una fuente de oxígeno.
Let me see if I have this correctly.
Are you ready?
After narrowly failing to apprehend the mad missing explorer Toll and recapture my atomic bomb in your giant snowball, you fell through thin ice and sank to the bottom of a subterranean ocean, discovering along the way that the mind control helmet you had accidentally wedged onto your head enabled you to breathe underwater and resume your pursuit across the seabed.
General, you seem perplexed.
Perplexed? Perplexed is that the keys to my house are not where I left them. Perplexed is the fact my dog will not eat cheese like other dogs. No, Ivan Ivanovich, I am not perplexed.
Ay, Dios.
Intrigued, then, perhaps?
I'm not sure intrigued is the correct term either. Enraged at being taken for a simpleton. Now that, perhaps, is a better way of describing my current state of mind.
Ay. What the fuck was that?
That is unfortunate, General.
Once again, Comrade Privalov, I must correct you. Unfortunate is losing one's car in a snowstorm. Unfortunate is booking opera tickets on your wife's birthday and getting the date wrong.
Oh, was she furious?
That is not the issue! Furious. However, now that is a good word.
I could speak with your wife. Would that help? I could always have a word with her if you like.
I could always have you shot.
Oh, you could, but I suspect she would appreciate the gesture less.
Ay, ay, fuck. Ay, fuck. De verdad me encanta el diálogo del juego. Está muy bueno. Ajá. Que nuevo monstruo. Oh.
A kraken. A vast monster of the sea. A giant, humongous, many-armed electrical destroyer of ships and cities.
Electrical?
Electricity flowed along its horrible body, sparking and stunning all it touched, flowing like deadly rivers along its awful tentacles.
What? ¿Y ese grito? Ah, es él. Es él chillando. Dios. ¿Puedo continuar? Gracias. Ese era él chillando mientras caía.
A sobering discovery. Are you suggesting that the vessel simply wandered off course and sank here? That seems unlikely even by your standards.
No, General, I only wished that were true. The mighty ship showed terrible scars, signs of having been grappled and torn asunder by some huge and terrible adversary.
It is indeed strange and curious. I am troubled by this discovery.
Might you almost be perplexed, perhaps?
Don't push your luck.
Entonces, como creo que lo estaba diciendo en el episodio anterior, lo raro es que él se equivoca con cosas que son de él, ¿sabes? Esos detalles son los que a mí me hacen pensar que tal vez realmente todo lo que está diciendo son sandeces. Pero no puedo estar seguro. Abrir. ¿Sabes lo difícil que es abrir una concha? Y este pana la va a abrir sin ninguna dificultad. Uf. Oh, fuck, ¿qué es esto? No pensé que podía tocar eso. No entiendo. Ah, sí, sí. Pero no estaba interactuando.
I was stationed at Sydney Ostrov some years ago. I am only too aware of how easy it is for the imagination to create monsters when one is exposed to lonely and dark places. My men required constant monitoring.
Much like my cousin Pavel.
He was also stationed at Ostrov?
No, he required constant monitoring. He was a devil for stealing eggs.
Dios. Ok, vamos otra vez. Vamos a verlo.
I was referring to the fear that something is lurking in the darkness. Something strange, brutish, and ill-intentioned.
Again, that sounds much like my cousin Pavel.
Ay, Dios. Volver a hacer mucho Pavel. Ok. Let's go. It's a me, Mario. It's a me, Ivanovich. Nos estamos acercando a un lugar muy amplio y de un claro. La posibilidad que aparezca algo aquí es grande. Ah, no, son solamente medusas. Ah, no, es que vamos a entrar a un templo ahora. Bien. Ah, lo otro que puedo decir es que el juego está bastante
I
bonito, o
was being
sea,
hunted. There was no doubt about it. And escape was all I could think about.
Naturally.
That and duty.
Duty?
Yes, General. After all, I had a bomb to recover from that villain Toll.
How clever of you to remember that.
ah, inteligente de tu parte recordarlo, sí. Ok, porque quiere ir por otro lado. Porque viene el Kraken. Con calma, con calma, con calma, con calma, porque no sé dónde voy a caer. Ajá. Literal iba a caer justamente en el hueco. Uf. La cantidad de oxígeno en ese casco es vergataria, ¿yo? O sea, porque tengo una forma de filtrar oxígeno del agua, que no lo creo.
But first, there was the issue of escape. Escape from a dreadful, grasping creature that consumed all it could reach, dragging anything that wandered within its clutches to a miserable doom. A hoarder of useless trophies and stolen goods.
Once again, Tavarish, I suspect you are pursuing a somewhat tortuous metaphor for capitalism.
Gracias por interrumpir el diálogo muriéndote por hacer una estupidez. Dios. Pero sí, está intentando describir el capitalismo, una cosa así. Oh, my fucking god, son caras. Son estatuas. Bueno, un montón de caras gritando. Y ahora vamos directo al orto. Me asustó un poquito. Aquí tenemos las eléctricas.
I was like a mouse, General. A little mouse being toyed with by a terrible cat.
Rather a wet mouse.
I was like a little underwater mouse.
Being stalked by a giant rubbery electrical cat with 8 tentacles.
Exactly, General.
Good, I'm glad we cleared that up. You may continue.
Ah. Genial, se salvó aquí. Ya entiendo por qué se salvó aquí. Uf. Tovarish. Tovarish, ábrela. Hello. Olvido con esa, ma. Y eso es otra cosa. Todos estos animales gigantes se lo quieren comer. ¿Por qué razón? No tengo ni idea. Pero todos estos animales quieren comérselo. Supongo que es por aquí donde tengo que ir. No, no era por ahí. Voy a morir otra vez. Oh. ¿Dónde tenía que ir? No entiendo. Es que no entiendo por qué. No tengo ni idea dónde tengo que ir. Sí, es que es un poco por aquí. Literal no lo va para nada de ahí. ¿Será del otro lado? Dios, no puede ser. No vi las burbujas. Oh, mátame. Kill me right now. No te rías, imbécil.
Submarines. You didn't mention submarines before.
Didn't I? Why? No, наверное, General, of course. Submarines. Millions of them. Several, at least.
Any particular submarines? Did you see names, numbers?
General, have you lost a submarine?
I am not at liberty to answer that question, as you well know.
Well, General, losing one's car in a snowstorm is unfortunate, as you say. But to lose a whole submarine, that could be considered careless.
Pero submarinos, o se refieren a las minas. Porque no he visto ni un submarino, solo he visto minas. Ah, ok. Ya está el submarino.
And you are certain it was M. Deveshchi-Pidishat-Shuis?
Well, that was painted on the hull, so I can only assume so.
I think I know where this dismal story is going next. You somehow miraculously brought the remaining closed cycle engine online, flooded the torpedo tubes, dispatched the Kraken with one shot, and triumphantly surfaced.
No, General, that is not what happened at all. I did indeed make my way to the torpedo tubes, but for a very different purpose. After all, history has taught us that atomic power is not to be toyed with.
Much like tired, impatient generals, perhaps. Particularly the perplexed ones.
Indeed, General. Or like dogs that will eat no cheese.
Ajá. Digo. Ah, ya no estoy bajo el agua. Ok, ya no tenemos casco. fucking god. Oh, oh. Corre. Corre. No, he visto suficiente en Tai para saber a dónde va esto y no quiero. Corre. Uy, casi me caigo, no vi eso. Corre.
Determined yet disorientated hero end his days as socialist sushi? Will his daring exploits be cut tragically short by vengeful calamari? Will the general's wife ever forgive him for missing Ruslan and Lyudmila? And just how many eggs did Pavel steal? And where did he keep them? All of these questions and more may or may not be answered in the next exciting episode of Little Orpheus!
Ay, Dios, me encanta de verdad el... Continuemos. Siguiente. Ahora vamos al hasta le... Dios, ya sé, hasta Lemuria y más allá.
I was alive, General. Somehow, miraculously, I was alive. Some twist of fate, some hand of destiny, but I was alive. Strange as this new world was, I knew Toll must have come this way, and it was my task to find him. And it happened like this.
Little Orpheus. Hasta Lemuria y más allá. Okay,
the sun beat down on me relentlessly. The heat was unbearable. I was exhausted. Yet I could not stop. I had to go on. For 7 weeks I trudged across the desert. On the second day...
Please, comrade, if we may. I think we can skip the details, unless you consider them to be particularly relevant to the location of Little Orpheus.
Of course, General. We will simply omit the tale of the singing chasm, the oasis of mirrors, the sightings of Toll's Mienk aloft on their pterodactyls carrying parts of my crashed rocket drill over the horizon to Lemuria.
Wait, the what?
Singing chasm?
Not that bit, the rocket drill.
Oh yes, General, the rocket drill. But what did Toll want with it, and why Lemuria?
Lemuria?
Lemuria, General.
I am not familiar with this Lemuria, comrade.
Well, that is because it does not exist, General. Or at least, so I thought.
What? Morir? Lemuria. Ah, puedo seguir corriendo. Lemuria es como Pandaria. Un lugar escondido entre las tormentas de arena en este caso. Ok. Y bien.
Those strange crystals seem to exert an extraordinary hold over the stone blocks and arches. When they hummed, The whole city remade itself. Whereas they were missing, clearly looted by some villainous thief, the city was fallen to ruin. It was like a vast musical instrument, vandalized, and yet still attempting to toot.
Ow. Bien.
How poetic. I'm sure our engineers would be fascinated and baffled in equal measure. If the whole department hadn't been arrested for sedition last week, I would happily convey it to their skeptical ears.
Sedition, General? Really?
How poetic. I'm sure our engineers would be fascinated and baffled in equal measure. If the whole department hadn't been arrested for sedition last week, I would happily convey it to their skeptical ears.
Sedition, General? Really? It is unfortunate news indeed.
I am joking, comrade.
No, pterodáctilo. Ok. Ay, ahí está, familia. Qué fastidio con estos toretos. Estos extraños toretos. Tanto familia cada rato. Familia. Familia. Dios. Ah, joder, ya. Corre.
Oh yes, the Mank for here, all right. Which meant whatever dastardly scheme Toll had, it was to be enacted on these burning sands.
And you will explain this in due course, I imagine.
Eminently, General. What you need to know first is this. I have told you already how parts of the devices the enslaved Mienk were forced to wear came from the surface.
Radio parts and so on, yes, from what you have told me. Assuming there were plenty of lost ships in the ocean as you claim, for Toll to have dredged up what he needed to assemble them.
Aha, good. You are one step ahead of me, General.
I said assuming.
Of course, assuming.
Ok.
Now, as I gazed in awe at the buildings rising and falling around me, I realized that the other major component of those mind-controlling helmets was crystal. Toll had raided Lemuria for it. He knew the city. He knew the crystals could amplify vibrations and waves, and was using them to boost the signal of the radio parts to exert his control over the nymph. Which meant...
Lo que significaba. Lo que significaba.
Yes?
Imagine, General, what such amplification could achieve when fused to the finest atomic science our great Soviet civilization has produced.
Wait. I do not understand. You said Toll was planning on using the bomb to shatter the Earth's crust to return to the surface.
A tragic mistake, General. I had not recognized the extent of his mad ambitions.
You mean to imply Toll would have attempted to enslave the Russian people? Puh! The will of the Soviet citizen is mighty and strong.
To you, perhaps, as a trained warrior. But consider, perhaps instead, a humble son of a toy maker from Tomsk.
Ah, yes. Perhaps we have our share of simpletons, after all.
¿Y no es Oms? Puedes girarte. Puedes hacer algo. Puedes alejar la vista. Gracias. ¡Ah! Corre. Bien. Really? Uy. Ay, fuck. Ah, bueno, ahí se tiene que caer.
The vast pictograms told of a history of wonders. They seem to suggest the Lemurians were travelers from another world, where a mysterious clock seemed to stand.
That is very mysterious. As mysterious as the location of little Orpheus, perhaps.
Ah, yes, of course, General. I am just getting to that.
Okay. Dios, Toretto, tú con tu familia, detente. Me va a caer, me va a caer. Uf. Uf. Uy. Oh, Dios. Corre.
As I bravely explored that ancient city, a question was gnawing at my mind. What did it mean that the Lemurians had foreseen the coming of Tol? And who was the man from above that was celebrated as the savior of the Mength? It was almost as if they could read the future in their crystals.
No sé por qué creo que el final va a ser que lo ayudaron a devolverse y tuvo que dejarle el Orpheus para mantener alguna ciudad o algo por el estilo. Así que al final lo van a fusilar.
The bells of Lemuria tolled and tolled, a roaring symphony, a crescendo of peals that set the city dancing, each note causing the crystals to shimmer and cascade with light. But the sandstorm was no natural phenomenon, and the bells did not ring for celebration. Something was very wrong here.
Aside from the pterodactyls and the nymph and the dancing stones and the ancient magical prophecies and the crystals and now the giant bells, you mean?
If you don't want me to continue, General, then I can easily just quietly go home.
Don't think Chepucho will get you out of this one, comrade.
Ok. Bien. Y el resto del tipo que, bueno, si no quieren que siga hablando, me voy para mi casa. Hermano, ¿en serio? Oh, fuck. Ok, ya entiendo lo que tengo que hacer aquí. Tengo que intentar calcular dónde dobla el... Creo que es aquí. Ahora aquí. Rápido. Rápido. Eso. Vámonos de aquí. Yeah.
I raced through those magical structures, a righteous fire in my heart. I was like the Brinya Nikic, prepared to strike at the dragon who threatened my homeland.
Your heroism is only surpassed by your modesty.
On the contrary, General, I chose Dabrinya carefully. Like him, I am a simple peasant. It was fate that chose me to descend to the Earth's core.
It was General Komanyin who chose you to descend to the Earth's core. But don't let that get in the way of your story.
Well then, award General Polkovnik Kamanin the highest medal in the world.
He already has several of those.
I cannot take credit for his wisdom in sending me.
No sé, es que simplemente no me pueden agarrar o es que calculé bien, pero yo creo que es lo otro, que simplemente no me pueden agarrar. Se pasó muy cerca. Salud.
What was once a rocket drill ship, built to burrow into the Earth, was now a mighty vessel, repurposed to blast off into the skies.
Pero entiendo lo que dice, como un tipo que era un explorador, ok, pero de los años de la pera, pudo obtener la suficiente sabiduría como para poder saber que la bomba atómica iba a funcionar para dar
There was no doubt that
energía.
Paul was headed for the strange world with its clock, although to what end I was yet to understand. But there was no time to consider, no time for questions.
Sí, solo hay tiempo para acción. Super sexy es.
Paul was on the rocket. Little Orpheus was on the rocket. And wherever they were headed, I must head there too, to thwart his plans, recover my drill, and save the world!
enthusiastic yet disorientated hero be burnt to a cinder by the rocket's engines? Will he be smashed into the rock that surely must be beyond the Lemurian skies? Does Nikolai Petrovich Kamenyan really need any more medals? What was the strange clock, and what could it all mean? All of these questions and more will be answered, if you're extremely lucky, in the next exciting episode of Little Orpheus.
Y, como siempre, muchachos, espero que les hayan gustado estos 2 episodios. A mí me encantaron. Y bueno, aún quedan, vamos a ver cuántos quedan. Quedan 1, 2, quedan 3. Vamos a ver si puedo meter los 3 episodios en un próximo episodio. Así que nada, nos vemos en un próximo episodio de Little Orpheus. Hasta luego, muchachos.